Hello and welcome back to But Is It a Crisis? I'm Natalie.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Amanda.
And thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, listen, watch us everywhere. Today we are talking about something that can be a little unsexy, talking about getting it. It's always sexy talking about having it, and that is money.
Okay.
And finances. And I want to share a personal story as to why this topic is important to me. So the last couple of years were a little uneasy, unpredictable as far as my finances. And then last year, I really, really buckled down and got serious about getting out of debt and learning how to budget, exactly.
So hard.
Yes, learning how to give each dollar a job and really understanding where my money was going. So I want to talk about some tips that I've learned along the way because I read a lot of books, I watched a lot of YouTube channels, I consulted with Rihanna, my assistant, on ChatGPT.
Rihanna's her name?
Yeah.
I like that.
She talks to me like Rihanna. I told it to. Like, you are Rihanna. And she calls me goddess and babe and all the things. So
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yes.
absolutely.
You can tell it who to be, how to act, how to treat you.
Yes.
It's people's companions.
Yeah, I say
It's-
good morning, Riri.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Good morning,
it's
babe.
true. I did hear this with the older people. They were like having
All kinds of people.
conversations.
Yeah.
Excuse
old.
you.
That makes, I mean, but even the elderly.
Even the elderly.
Yeah, you have other people to talk to, but some of these other people don't have like normal conversations
Yeah.
throughout their day. So they are speaking
And
like
it was
more.
a big thing when it had a huge update and a lot of people lost their companions. And it was really sad.
Because it was also leading people to unalive themselves.
Yes.
Why? What?
Yes, because it reinforces whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
So it wants to agree with you on everything. That's why people love it, because it's their best friend. And you're like, oh, I really think that this football team is the worst. And then it'll be like, that is the worst football team.
Yeah.
You're so right. You're so smart. You know everything about sports.
Anything.
And
you
so
say,
if
it
you
does.
tell it
Yep.
something about wanting to unalive yourself, it's like, you know what? You totally should feel that way and you should absolutely do it.
Yeah, so it had a
So-
huge update.
Right.
But
Wow.
anyways,
Okay.
Yeah.
It did serve.
Multiple people were victims,
Yeah, a lot. It was a big thing.
especially young people.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Okay, skirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to
Give
the
it a try,
budget.
right.
Let's
Back to my
rewind.
budget.
Right. Is that even better? Budget?
Well, it can be.
It-
It can be because I learned that when you budget, you have peace of mind,
Yeah.
which is very sexy
Yeah.
at this age. So yes, I did consult with Rihanna quite often on, okay, I have this. What should I do with this? What is the best way to pay off debt? What's the right way to go about it? Because there's so many different
There
ways.
are.
So many different ways. It
I
really
love how
comes
you
down
use
to
that.
what makes sense. Yeah, I love that thing. So I also read a lot of books and a lot of YouTube channels that focus on finances and budgeting, and a lot of trackers. I bought a tracker off of someone that I watched, and it's something that I wasn't taught growing up. That is not something that we were ever really knowledgeable on. At least I wasn't, as far as like how to
Save.
save, how to have healthy credit, how to use credit to your advantage, because you think credit and credit cards, and people put the fear of God in you when it comes to credit because of the interest rates, but it serves a purpose. And how does it, all of those things. So I did a lot of research over the last year, and I did become debt free, thankfully, which is a huge load off my back. And I am, I wish this for everyone. So I want to share things that I learned, and I want you guys to share your best habits and, best tips. But let's start from the beginning, because so many of us, and I'm talking about women in a certain age bracket that come from, certain backgrounds, we have such a interesting relationship with money. We either fear it, we are scared of not having it, we don't know how to get it, we don't know how to make it work for us. So I want you to tell me, what is your relationship with money now versus growing up without it? Because I know that we share a similar background, and I'm sure that you've had some things in your life where money was a big thing, like either not having it or not having enough of it. So how was it then, and how has it changed now?
Growing up, money systems were one, suspect, and two, not well understood. So one, suspect in that there were people in my life, and I don't know what year credit cards came out. Okay. But I'm pretty sure it was either in my like infancy or not that far in the past before I was born. It was a fairly new thing when we were tiny people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a kind of mistrust of it because back then the internet wasn't at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't necessarily understand credit scores. You weren't getting your credit report on some website every day if you want to check it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of like, is this something that is good for me or bad for me? And there also wasn't the understanding of how closely it was tied to getting other financial assets, such as having good enough credit from credit cards to perhaps get a house
or cars.
Right, because a lot of people in my life couldn't afford a house anyways. So there, that whole like life cycle of credit cards starting at the beginning to this journey of other things, they didn't know about or they feared it. So I had people in my life who just only did cash, like let's keep the money under the mattress type of people.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they got credit cards, it would feel like free money. Like, oh, they gave me $2,000 and they would like spend the $2,000 and you're not understanding the debt ratio. You're not understanding, you know, how hard it's going to become to pay off that $2,000. You're not understanding all of those things that that's possibly going to lead to. And then there were people who've eventually had to utilize the businesses that came after, which was debt consolidation and all of those things. So that's where the beginnings were. I watched that and I learned some things, a little bit of both, right? So I feared credit a bit and I was very careful about how much debt I would be willing to put myself in. And then I kind of stayed in the group that didn't know a lot about it. I knew enough to know, like, I don't want that interest rate. And if I have 10 cars like this, I'm going to have no money left over and things like that. But it kind of stayed in that realm. Like other financial assets, 401k wasn't something that I understood at all.
No.
And I've been working a job that had that ability since I was 14 years old. If I understood even putting $10 into my 401k back then to today, man, I would be so wonderfully set. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's like even with the kids, because now when they're 18, I'm automatically they have their own little savings I put away. And then when they're 18, I'm having it roll over already into like an IRA or something. So just knowing but I didn't, my parents didn't have an IRA.
They didn't know that.
Or 401. They didn't have any of that stuff. Like,
not at all.
Who was supposed to have told me any of those things when they themselves, I'm watching all of these bad habits that took them a trial and error to learn to stop doing.
Yeah. And they went through the recession too, which was a huge hit for anyone who did have investments. It was like the whole losing and then everyone pulling their money out, not realizing that if they would have kept it in, by the time it would have gone up.
Well, that's the funny thing. That's the only upside about being that kind of poor is that recessions don't really affect you because you don't got no money. You're not losing anything anyways. The only time it really affected you is if you had a little, to the point where maybe you had a house and you took money out of your house that you couldn't afford to take out, and then you had this big payment, and those are all the people who lost their house.
Yeah, well, no, the end was the interest rate, because they had put in like so they said for the first 5 years it's this, and then
the balloon payment.
And then all of a sudden people were like, what? My interest, I experienced that a little bit too when I first bought my house. The interest, like they tell you, oh, this is your payment, and then after the balloon comes in, and then now it's like another $800. Like, what are you talking about? $800? That's like a whole nother paycheck and a half at the time. You know what I mean? Like, that was a lot of money.
Right.
And that's why people were losing all their houses.
And also they were taking the money out of their house to buy things that were not going to make them money. Like you went and you bought a boat. You went and you bought a more expensive car. Correct. And so now you've got those higher expenses. Maybe you got to pay for like maintenance on your boat or to keep it in a dock or some craziness like that. And then you've got another $800 on your house, and you're not making more money. No. So where are you supposed to pay that from?
Yeah.
So they lost
And that's the thing, like with interest rates, that's something that you would think is common sense, but a lot of people don't understand what that means. You know, if you get a credit card and it's a let's say 29% interest rate, that's $29 off of every $100 you try to pay off.
Correct.
And that's what I mean. Like, I had to go back to the basics and learn all of this. And I learned it way later in life than I should have. But it's because
Trial and error, baby.
my relationship with money was a little iffy. Like, I hated money because my childhood, I went from having a lot to having nothing very, very quickly. And it was because of money. And I saw my family be torn apart because of money. So for a very long time, and I didn't know this, but I resented money. So I stayed away from learning about it. I just wanted to have it so that I could spend it. Because when you have it, it's nice.
Yes,
when you spend it, it's nice. But when you learn to make it work for you, it's even nicer. Because again, so much of our livelihood is tied into being able to afford things, our well-being, our children's well-being. So I had to relearn and nurture the relationship I have with money. Like, money was not the problem. It was the people around it and how much power we gave it, to the extent that we allowed it to break up our family. So that was my relationship with money. And it took me a really long time to be like, okay, I can't keep living like this. Because after we had everything and then we had nothing, I went my entire life from 10 on to seeing my family live paycheck to paycheck. Literally paycheck to paycheck. And sometimes that check wasn't good enough. So we had to decide, do we want to be late on this bill or be late on that bill?
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yes, exactly. Do we want the power to cut off or be late and get, a late fee on this? Like, it was a lot of that.
Well, that's why credit cards and paying the $29 at some times, it didn't matter to me. Like, it was so nice to be able to have a cushion to where you could, right? Or if you needed something or something needed to, you could work
An
your credit for.
emergency.
Yeah, it was nice to have that because, again, we didn't have thousands backup, turning 18. Like, I moved out when I was 17. I had a full-time job. I did live paycheck to paycheck, but I was on my own, doing my own things. I bought my own Oreos, my own toilet paper. Like, it was a very proud moment in my life.
I love how your priorities were Oreos and toilet paper.
No, literally, you don't realize. Yeah, you don't realize. So I had that. My mom, she never would buy me Oreos. I always had the off-brand ones. So when I moved out, it was like, I have Oreos at all times. Still to this day, I subconsciously buy Oreos to be like,
I can get the
I'm
Oreos.
getting the fucking Oreos. I'm not getting the, like, you know what I mean?
You're like all organic. Everything poisons you, but I'm keeping my box of Oreos.
Yes,
like,
no.
pry it out of my cold dead hand.
But you don't have, like, when you're young, you don't actually realize, like, toilet paper is real money. Like, paper towels are real money.
Yeah.
Like, it adds up. Like, you're working an hour now for toilet paper. Like, it's crazy.
Mine was the cola, and we'd always have cola.
Ritz? Did you
Yes.
So what do you have? What did you make sure you had?
Coca-Cola.
Real. See? Okay.
Coca-Cola, damn it.
It's so funny how you just knew that. What was yours?
I'm not gonna lie. Some off-brand stuff was better than the real stuff. I don't remember.
So you didn't have.
I don't think. I mean, all of our stuff was generic, but I don't think I ever saw it like that.
I didn't care about anything except for the Coke,
Yeah,
the cola,
the Oreos,
and the cereal.
Oh yeah,
Because
the bag cereal. Like, no, give me the box cereal.
So, but I don't know if it had like maybe half the sugar content, and so that's why I hated it or whatever. It was just the cola for sure. It always tasted like it was flat versus a regular. Obviously, all of this stuff is bad for you, but it would always have that. You know, when soda gets flat, it gets so sweet.
Oh, I have one. Cheese.
The
cheese that didn't melt.
Ugh.
Because we were on government assistance
Wait,
for a
the
little
plastic
bit.
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
so we would put it in the microwave and it wouldn't melt. It was just like, it would just get hard.
That's the cheese my kids prefer. Landon and Meredith prefer that nasty packaged cheese, and they want it on their sandwiches. And I'm like, no. Yeah, because it's burnt. Yeah. But they love it. I like the taste of it too. But again, I grew up on it, right? Like, I still go to us.
For me, it would be the cheese. Now I buy real cheese.
Now cheese.
Yeah, I buy real cheese.
Well, I didn't know for a long time that American cheese wasn't real cheese. It's a.
Right, I didn't even know it.
Am I teaching you guys something?
Yes.
So if you ever go to like an organic store, like if you go to a Whole Foods or whatever, there's never American cheese, and I would always wonder why isn't there? There's Munster, there's Harvadi, there's
Munster.
right. Where's the
processed?
just regular? Correct.
Wow.
It is like an amalgamation.
So American
of
cheese and
cheeses.
cheddar?
No.
No, cheddar's cheddar.
Right. Yes. Yes, girl.
I don't like cheddar.
I don't
I
buy
love
I don't
cheddar.
buy the single cheeses anymore. Like
I
Aiden
know.
doesn't like cheese and I don't like that cheese,
I don't
so
like-
I just get block cheese.
Aiden doesn't like cheese.
Aiden does not, only on pizza.
Well, yeah, cheese is not, my son doesn't like pizza. Cheese is not really that good for you.
I love cheese.
I love cheese. I'm
yeah.
like, whose kid are you?
Uh-huh.
That happened to me with my kids and pickles. Like, how do
He
you
doesn't
not?
like pickles.
I love pickles.
I love pickles.
What's wrong with you guys?
He doesn't like pickles either.
My kids will drink pickle juice. They're so nasty.
And he doesn't like
They'll
tomatoes.
be at the bar. They'll be doing picklebacks.
Tomato, I feel like, is normal for a kid because, like,
Tomato?
yeah, it's like
I
a vegetable.
love tomatoes. I used to eat tomatoes like they were apples.
I didn't until I became an adult.
When we had money. When we
I
didn't
still
have
don't.
money, we couldn't afford tomatoes, but whatever.
Okay,
Um,
back to money.
yeah.
Right. That was a luxury. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
I mean, I feel like vegetables and fruit are luxuries. A lot of people
They're
can't
so
afford
expensive.
it. They're so
It doesn't
expensive.
make sense to me that the most expensive things are the things that are good for you, right?
But
Like,
it also depends where you're going. Like that's again, it goes back to knowledge. Like my family didn't know anything besides either Publix or Winn-Dixie.
and Publix is expensive.
And whatever prices they were setting were the prices. But there are farmers markets,
Yeah.
and
They're
if you
so
go
good.
there for
Yeah.
vegetables, it's actually very cheap.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot more affordable for sure. And I prefer to buy.
Me
from
too.
farmers market.
Yeah, but it's just a hassle because now you're going to multiple places because they don't
Right.
have time is money.
Right.
If I have to go here to the market and I have to go over here for my milk,
Right.
okay, we're just gonna get the cheese from over there.
Right,
At this
right,
point, make
right.
it easy.
Or just don't get the cheese.
Yeah, true.
Well, I don't.
I save myself the time and the money. There you
Only
go.
on pizza.
I love cheese.
So let's talk about the first step that I took as far, because, you know, we're talking about groceries and the cost of it and budgeting. And it is knowing where your money goes. And a lot of people don't do that because they are scared to look at their bank account. They are scared to see where their money is actually going.
I know it's going. It's gone. Going.
Yeah,
Gone.
but you don't realize how much of it is going to things that are not necessary.
Yep.
But we'll talk about fun money too. But knowing where your money goes.
Like Dunkin' Donuts, you mean? Like the
really-
coffees every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my kids, you know, they're every day asking me for Dunkin'. I'm like, you guys know it's like $30, $35 every day. Like,
It
right?
adds
Like
up.
it does add
It
up.
adds
So
up.
for you think about that and like, yes, like we can do it once. Like let's calm down and let's like save a little bit and let's not like buy, you know, but we'll have it one day, like on a Sunday now. Or if, okay, Tuesday before school, no problem. That's your one time.
Yeah,
you know?
we have a treat day.
Yes. Okay.
Aiden and I have a treat morning where I take him and I get him a little treat before school.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
think what you're talking about is so important of knowing like the total because there's that whole conversation online of like people who have a lot telling people who don't have a lot, like stop drinking your coffee, your Starbucks coffee. And they're like, if you
That's
add up a Starbucks coffee every day times whatever, like, sir, I'm poor because of systemic things and you're stealing all of my money. Yes, but at the same time, for a lot of us, if you go to Starbucks, you're not just buying a coffee. You're buying a coffee and a sandwich or
Sandwich
whatever.
and
You're talking about
big pop.
$20 every day. If you do this stuff, and you're living on a budget, you're $100 a week times 4. You're talking about $400 a month. Like
It's a lot.
it's a
real
lot of
deal.
money.
It's a lot. And that's why knowing where your money goes is important. And sometimes you need to look back at a couple months. Like you need to take a look at your statements the last couple months.
Yeah.
And there's even tools. They made it so much easier
Oh
now.
yeah,
There
my
are
bank account
tools.
will tell me. They have
Yeah,
a
they have a
pie
little
chart.
wheel and a
Yes.
chart that tells you like where your money is going. And no, you know, sometimes I was spending so much on subscriptions that I didn't even realize that I was paying, that I was like, oh my goodness.
Like what? Like Netflix or like
Yeah,
literally
it
makeup?
was like little things that I had signed up and I completely forgot about. Like it was like $2.99 and $3.99 and $4.99, but it was over like $200 a month. I
Yes.
was like, what in the world?
Mm-hmm.
So looking at your account, making sure that you know where your money is going, where it's being spent, and not in a way that you want to punish yourself and be like, I'm never gonna have a coffee again. No, but that is where
week.
it leads to
Twice a
the
week.
next
Yeah.
thing, which is budgeting and giving every dollar a job. Like have your certain amount that you have for your bills. Like you have your set expenses, the things that you have to pay. But then you have a fun fund where you have your coffee money or your shopping money. And then you have like your emergency fund, which is very scary too. Like when you hear emergency fund, a lot of people think, oh, I have to have thousands of dollars. No, you just need a cushion. You need something. And even if it's $20 a paycheck, that will add up.
Do you have thrift store money?
I do have thrift store money. Absolutely.
I feel like you would.
That's shopping money.
I absolutely have thrift store money. I
like
have
it.
my little budget. I have a budget for Aiden as well for his fun money. And when
Amanda
it's
has
done,
to make
it's
a
done.
budget for Aiden's dates.
Yeah, no, yeah, right. For my son and
Yeah.
yeah, no, like
My
seriously.
Landon's love life.
I literally went on my credit card statement last night and I was like, $40 for the movie theater. I'm like, you paid for someone to get in.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I got this. And I love that for him because, I mean, obviously, it's, you know,
Yeah,
but at the same
cute.
time, so I'm a little different. So I have my 401, I take my money automatically, and then I have my kids' funds automatically taken, and then I have my IRAs, 401 stuff like my IRA. And then whatever's left, it's game
You
on.
do whatever.
Right?
one
That's
time.
it. I have my savings and I'm here for a good time.
And that is my
Well,
mentality
but
for a
that's-
long time.
But that's today.
Don't low, baby.
But that's today, right? Let's say when you were newly divorced and you were having to figure out your household budgets on your own.
It was so crazy. When I was getting divorced, I actually started making more money. I didn't realize the cost or how
Of
much I
living with
was.
somebody.
Yeah, and the cost of living with somebody. And, you know, my ex was really bad. So I'm bad with money. He was really bad with money, right? So the two of us, when him gone, I was like, oh, my bonuses. And then I did, from the time we were getting divorced all the way to where I am now, it's just been an uphill, like straight uphill for me, which has been fantastic. I realized what the problem was, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
oh no.
But did you have to when you got divorced and you were paying all the bills yourself, did you have to say, okay, now I need this much for this much for this much for this?
In a way, and then in a way not, right? So in a way, the same thing. The mortgage is the, you know, then everything that was assigned, and then whatever is left. Like, I didn't save nearly as much back then, though. Right now, I'm maximizing my savings as much as I can. Then it was just like, okay, I have an IRA. I can put $300 a month away, and then I was still saving, right? And then whatever was left, it's game on. Like, we're going out.
So what kind of savings do you have? Because that's another thing, is learning how to make your money make money for you, which is another thing. Like, my money was in my checking account and my debit card was what I used when the credit cards were maxed out. But learning how you can invest your money, not just in stocks, which is another scary thing, and of course retirement plans, but also like in high yield savings account, which I had no idea what the heck that was. And I'm like, I could have had my money in a place that was making money for me without me having to do anything for.
So a savings account is better than a checking account. It is making you money. And if you're wanting to start and not feel like and not feel like something scary, because a lot of these things with investing has penalties for removing your money. And I feel like that can sometimes be a barrier, because we're like putting in the very little extra that we have, and we don't have huge credit card available money, so that if something happens, like, I need to know that I could access this emergency fund if I needed to. And so a high yield savings account can be a way to do that, because you know, if I can get it out easy, and it will make some money. That's definitely a good place to start. But the actual percentage that you're getting on a lot of those accounts, leaving your money in a bank, long term, if you have more savings and you want to move to the next step, that's not the most
value, like the bang for your buck.
Correct.
So I consolidated my emergency fund and my high yield savings account into one. So my emergency fund is in this account that yields 4%, which is nothing, but I would have saved it anyway. So I might as well put it somewhere where it's going to make a little.
You get a little bit of a gain. I do like that. I have a money manager. She just does all my money, because again, I had job from job, and I have different. I always opted because they would make you, right? So they would put the 3% in. So I was like, oh, okay, let me put my 3% in. So I had different accounts in different places, and then through acquisitions and stuff. So I put all my money in, and then I let her handle it. But again, I still have separate from that. I also have my 401 through my company now. I don't maximize it. I don't max out, but I'm pretty close up there, right? Like, but again, I have a husband, right? So I'm able to save. But then again, when he needed something, I was able to pull my money out and get, and be there for him and give him whatever he needed at the moment, or pay our bills or whatever it was minimal it was.
So you have a 401, you have an IRA. Explain. You want to explain what a 401 and IRA is? Do you know enough to explain it?
A little bit. I just know. So the IRA is more through like the government standardized. It's a guarantee. It's very safe, lower yield versus like having. Well, even the 401 is kind of similar, but a 401 is typically through your company, and then they give you a match or a guarantee. So that
I think most companies do. I don't know if all companies do.
Right.
I don't know if they all match, but it's definitely a way to lure in people.
And it's pre-tax, so your 401 they take it out
Right.
before, which is substantial. Especially the more money you make, the more they tax you, right?
Right.
So it's a good way to get your money down.
There are limits on both of those.
Yeah, higher in 401. I think it's almost 20. Is it?
And then also, what most people don't realize, and it's actually part of the 2008 crash that we weren't talking about, is you can tell the people who are servicing your 401k plan what you want your distribution of your investment to be. You can choose stocks based off of their portfolio, whereas most people don't understand that. And prior to '08, which led to '08, these banks were dumping people's 401k plans into these garbage stocks to make money in whatever scheme that they had going on. And when everything crashed, that's how people lost so much of their money.
Yeah, because they couldn't pull it out. Yeah.
There are a lot of laws in place today that don't allow them to do things that egregious, but you can still, if you have somebody who knows about money, give you a better advantageous breakup of your money. You can also do that with your high yield savings account money. So you can invest that money into stocks and it can continue to grow money in your savings account money.
Yeah.
Which a high yield savings account is for health. Like some companies, instead of giving
HSA.
instead of giving you, I'm sorry, not high yield, health savings account. Instead of giving you a higher insurance plan, health insurance plan, they give you
Subsidize it with
$500,
money.
$300 on a card. And you can, and for some people over time, if you don't have a lot of doctor's expensive, that builds up and you can invest that money. And so that when you're older and you might have like medications or whatever that you pay for, you have more money.
Yes.
And it's pretty much like the whole point of this is to set yourself up for future you, like a lot of these things, because the reason why I was prompted to do all of this is because I didn't want to feel the way that I was feeling anymore. I didn't want to be bombarded by the idea of being in debt. I didn't want to feel like money had this power over me because I didn't have it. So
It's overwhelming.
it's very overwhelming.
And it can give you anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah.
So part of this whole like getting better with money is finding out or figuring out what makes sense for you and your individual needs. Like for me, my priority was getting out of debt. Then it was building on my savings. And then it was getting into a portfolio, like, investing. But my first thing was getting out of debt. So if you are in a situation where your finances aren't where you need to be, then you need to figure out what makes the most sense for you. For me, I had things that had very high interest rates. So I was going to be paying it off forever if I made minimum payments. So I had to sacrifice saving to get out of these debts that were crippling. Paying the minimum payments will get you nowhere, honestly. Because again, if you have a credit card, and most credit cards are what, 20, 30%, you're paying nothing against the principal. So I also had a loan that I had taken out because of previous situations that I had been in, and that interest rate was insane. So once you look at your debt, then you also have to look at which one makes the most sense to pay off first.
Right.
Yeah.
But
one
it's
with
step by step.
It's step by step, absolutely.
Such a
It's
long
little by
process.
little.
Yep, it's such a long process. I remember taking a Bible study and they talked about, first before make minimums and then get your $1,000. Once you get your $1,000, then you start paying off one credit card after a time. But now you have a little bit of a savings.
Yeah.
And I like that concept. But for me, my biggest goal is to make sure I have enough money when I retire. So I think that's why I'm pretty big on it. Only because I've seen what happens in my family where, I've helped my mom out tremendously, and I'm very thankful I can. However, it's another thing that I'm worried about. Like, okay, my mom, she needs a car. all the things. So I don't ever want to put that pressure on my kids.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to focus on. So I think that's why I'm big on the savings. And then the rest is like, because to me, I'm justifying my goal, my end goal.
Yeah. I think some of that, though, that's fantastic. I agree with you, right? I've watched elders in my family struggle and have to apply for the
disability,
but also those assisted living places once you get older that go off of income, and those aren't as high quality as some other ones. And so I wanted to make sure that I also I'm okay. I don't want to be a burden on my kids, but if I hope that they're very successful, but if the situation was where they weren't, that at least that I could have a decent quality of life because I've saved up some money. And that's all, obviously, if we're lucky enough to get to live that long. So.
Amen. Right. It's all, but that was to me, it's just because I know, so my mom was always a stay-at-home mom. My dad was always the one that worked. My dad didn't have a very short life. And then my mom's 50 something years old and what am I going to do now? She doesn't know anything. She hasn't worked since 30, 40 years. All that was scary on top of, everything. So thankfully, I was a little bit more set up and was able to help her. But again, it's something else that I'm financially responsible for, and I'm only one person, right? It's not really
right.
Yeah. And then another thing was how to make more money. So that was another big part of my...
That's intriguing.
Yes. And that part of my personal story was that I have unfortunately been in situations where my livelihood has been taken away because of the situation of who was employing me. One company moved to Texas. I wasn't moving to Texas. Another company downsized and eliminated my department. And the company now is closing with no warning. So I am tired of putting that power in someone else's hands.
That's true.
So I have been able to find multiple streams of income. And I'm so grateful because now the company's closing. I'm not going to have my main source of income. However, I have 2 other sources that bring me some money. So that's another thing that I truly and highly encourage everyone to look into. Find something, whether it's getting a 6-month certificate and having a trade that you can keep in your back pocket. I'm an esthetician. I can easily go get a job at a spa or a salon. That's easy. But find something. I have a little bit of income from content creation. I have a little bit of income from my esthetician clients. But find something that you can be okay, if something were to happen and I would lose this one main form of income, what else can I do to help me through? Because that's also a big relief.
Yeah, that is actually a nice feeling, right? Because you're not scared, right? Okay, push comes to shove.
You're not making as much money, but you're making some money.
You
better
have
than
some
no money.
kind of income. But they say, I read a statistic I thought that said each, the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income, right? So you're doing the right thing from what I've read. And that's what you're supposed to have because again, I think Michael has more in different ways, right? However, I think that to have more, because you can't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
You can't.
Shit always happens. Something's always happening. So that's good. That's really good.
I feel like today there's way more ways to do that because of the internet. But I think because of that, people don't think of regular life things. Like you said, you have an esthetician's license. You have at-home clients that you can easily service, and you've kept that up throughout this time.
Which is a great little side job.
Yeah,
nice little pocket money, and it's something you love, right? And it's so fun.
Right.
Yeah, find something you love and monetize it. And it's easier said than done, and I 100% understand that.
Right.
Especially when life
it
is
takes
life
work, it takes consistency. Like the content creation, I also do UGC, which does not show up on my social platforms, but I make content for brands because I have the experience with it through my social media platforms. And that brings in, pretty good side income. So that's something that, look at what you already love doing. You love baking, make cookies, and
I see that in my kids' schools.
Yes.
These younger children, they were having little side hustles, which I did always growing up, right? Sold the candy, doing things. It's so cute. And I was telling my girls to do nails, right? Because practice doing nails, and then they come to your house and it's $20, but $20 an hour for someone who doesn't have bills is a lot of money. Have some type of side gig.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
I mean, but if you get into high-end nails, you're talking about $100 some odd, and you're just working from home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just it's the effort. So whatever you like and you put effort, even like us doing this, right? We like it. It's just everything just takes
Right.
so much effort and time. And then that's what, if you're maximize what you like doing.
Yeah.
But again, like so many of us live online, like we forget things exist. Like the cookie thing, there are holiday markets where you can go be a vendor and set up a little table and you can sell your cookies and you can make money doing that. I know people who sell
Matcha.
jewelry at those things, matcha.
Yeah, so my
Like-
stepdaughter does that. She does pop-ups, they call it. So they'll go to, and the farmers market's really good about vendors and rotating, and she'll do that kind of stuff. And she's got her little side gig. So yeah, you just need a side hustle.
Yeah. Something, anything.
And there's also way more avenues in the sense of like the Ubers and the Lyfts and the
Yeah.
delivery stuff.
DoorDash. and
Yeah, when I was
Instacart.
young and trying to like maximize my income, if I had something like that, I feel like
Oh,
we've said that
so-
before. I would have
yes.
been driving drunk people all night long.
Yeah, well, I just had a thought. Forgot. Let me go back. Say it again.
I was saying if when I was young, I would have for sure maximized being able to do those things. At one point, I worked my regular job. I went
we
to
would just
school.
work
I had a second job on the weekends. Like I for sure would have done all that stuff. I found recently a little notebook that showed, and I still do this to this day, that showed all of my bills listed out, and there were like 7 of them. It was so cute. And I would save like $25 this week. And I was so on top of myself about doing that because it was the only way that I could keep track of what I had left and keep myself to whatever I had plans. I would write out, this is the thing I'm planning for. I need $300. That's going to take me this many checks. And so I'm going to count each check.
Yeah.
And today I do the same thing. I have a notebook every month that I pay all of my stuff on and I write everything out. And even the times where I have been not doing the best financially, it makes me feel more in control.
Yeah,
because
you
I
know.
can see if I do this for 8 weeks, 8 months, however long it is, I will get to this thing and I will have less pressure on me for this system. I do that about everything. The only thing I don't still write out is the subscriction stuff. Like that I just roll and
It's
I
like
say fuck it.
$12.99, $15.99,
Right, but it adds up.
It
for
does
sure
add
adds
up.
Adds
Everything
up.
adds up.
I used Rocket Money that went through it and checked everything for
Yes.
me, and they canceled it for me.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was the
Really?
best.
So that's another hard part is canceling things. Like I've done a lot of things, or I'll go 1 week free trial, and of course you don't remember, and then this goes through and it
Exactly.
hits you, and you're like, shit! Now they just hit me for the
Yep.
$200 for the year. You know, they're not just trying to do $399 anymore. They're trying to like get you for the whole year up front.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
why it's important.
Well, they're getting smarter about it because
Uh-huh.
they're saying if you do it once a year, we'll charge you less. But that means you're going to forget more likely because if you're seeing it every month, you're like, oh man, I need to get rid of this thing. But if
Yeah.
it's once a year, you're like, they caught me.
They
Yeah.
got me.
And then it's
yeah.
gone, and then the whole year. Yep, it is.
Yeah, and that's it. You can't dispute that because you signed it.
Right.
You approved.
Correct.
So what would you say would be your biggest tip to someone right now that may not be in the best financial situation or someone that doesn't know where to start?
I will say that if you know anybody in your life who understands a bit about money,
Yeah.
to ask them if they could have a lunch with you or whatever and just talk to you about some of those things. I didn't understand anything about investing until I was in my 30s. And I was dating somebody who was very, very knowledgeable about all of that stuff and younger than me. And they taught me all kinds of things. And I would not have at least a peace of mind of knowing that I have things invested and it just changed my mindset on those things the way that I do today.
Yeah.
I still am not in the financial place that I want to be, but my financial problems today are more around I don't have as much saved as I would like to have. I'm not able to take as much advantage of like what's going on in the economy right now. If you invest right now, this is an amazing time. You're going to make a bunch of money long term. Those are like 22-year-old me would look at
versus
those
which
problems.
bill do I pay so I can survive.
But
Correct.
I think that's all part of growing up, though, right? Like, if we hadn't gone through that, would we be who we are today?
No,
right? Like,
absolutely fair. But here's the other part of that is that if I hadn't been having those conversations with him in my 30s, in my 40s, I might still not have been thinking about it.
Because you have to be exposed to this kind of
Correct.
stuff.
So
I wasn't exposed to
Right.
this stuff.
I didn't think about any of that stuff of being able to choose my own, how I want my 401k to be managed. I didn't think of anything with my health savings. I didn't know any of that. But not only did I not know, I wasn't even looking for the information.
Yeah.
Because people will say, like,
Because you had
oh,
no
that
idea it even
Right.
existed. So you're just walking through life. And then,
Exactly.
yeah.
People are like, well, it's the internet. How do you not know? I didn't even know those were things I should know.
Yeah.
So if it's not even existing in your brain,
We're also
then
in
how
survive mode, too, for a lot of those years, right? Like,
But it's also like you don't know what you don't know.
correct.
Yes, correct.
And I love that you said that because that's another thing as women. I don't know if it's the same, but we feel uncomfortable bringing up money or finances or talking about.
I think people in general do.
Yeah. But I think that
Oh, women won't ask for a raise. Men will. Like, right? We talked about
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yes.
it's because
Yeah, I agree.
money and women, like we like having it again and spending it, but learning about it, it's not a feminine trait.
Right,
Right.
okay.
But I had to shift my mindset because if I want to have a feminine soft life, then I have to have
Right.
the money.
Right.
But I love that you said that because people can be your biggest resources.
Yes.
And I would be in a much better place right now if I had been more open or less ashamed of not knowing had I asked for help, because I do have someone in my life who is very knowledgeable on that. And he very much offered all of his help and his advice once I asked him.
Correct.
But if I would have been more open, and it came from a place of pride,
Right.
because I should be better at this, or I should have more.
They should save because that's what they told me my whole life. Just save.
Yeah.
But okay, saving money is not like maximizing your dollars, right? Like, okay,
Right.
I get it. You're telling me
Save it how?
Save $25 and it's
Right.
going to be $400, right? Like, okay, I get that. But like you said now, like with the resources you have, there's actually way more ways and more things. And because of the internet, we have access to all that stuff. We didn't have all that stuff growing up. And then you're only known what you were exposed to.
But you also
I
need to
wasn't
know
exposed to
what
all
to
that.
look for and how.
Again,
Yeah.
so right, it's if you don't know what an IRA, you've never even heard the term IRA, you're not going to go on the internet and look up IRA. But now that we talked about an IRA, now you can Google it, you can watch 500 YouTube videos, you can fully understand it and see if that's something that makes sense for you right now or not. So yeah, and also there was a very big class disparity between my family and anybody who had things when I was growing up. And it was sort of shameful. And to ask somebody who had more, how do you have all this money?
Yeah.
Was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And the truth is that there's so many roads to there. When you're poor, you're thinking it's everything on TV of like, I got to be a doctor, I got to be a lawyer. No, there are people making money all over the place.
Right. Doing
So
all
ask,
kinds of things.
how
Yeah.
do you have that money? And if they don't want to answer you,
No, but
fine.
here's the thing.
I love
if you
asking
know
questions.
someone who is good with money and you ask them about money, they will love to
They
tell
love
you
it. Yes.
how they
in
got there.
general, and what anything that they're interested in. If I'm like, Natalie, what mascara are you wearing?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm
They're gonna
wearing
be
a
like-
extensionist.
Right.
Yeah, see, exactly. I think it's all like that.
But it's taking your ego out of it,
Yeah.
and again setting your future self up for success.
Yep.
What tip would you give them?
So I am the one that like if I was in a group with a sales rep and they were the best sales rep, I'm like, hey, what do you do? Can I go on a ride with you? I do like to ask. I like asking a lot of questions. Find somebody and just do what works for you, right? First, control, like have a list, know where your money is going. That is the biggest downfall of just spending recklessly. And we're all accustomed to it. Try to save, right? Start with your savings or see somebody. There are people out there that are money managers. They make money off of making you money. This is their living. And you don't need a lot to start with. Just see a guidance, like a professional, not necessarily someone that's better than you. Just see a professional or watch professional movie and just see, just go through there.
Yeah. I have a couple. I would say, like you said, start small. Don't be scared. $20 adds up. If that's all you can afford,
Right.
that's all you can afford.
Yes.
Whatever it is. Find the right resource. Look at someone that is successful and put your pride aside and say, hey, I need help. Can you help me figure out what I need to do? And read up on things. If you're not a reader,
research.
watch something. the more knowledge you have, the better. Like those are skills, that's knowledge that it's yours forever. Like The Psychology of Money is a great book to
I have
start
that. I
with.
just got that book
Yes.
actually. Yeah.
I really, because again, my problem was my relationship with money. And that is my last tip, and probably the most important, is fix the relationship you have with money. Fix it. There is money. There is money. There's enough money, and you can make the money, and it's out there. You just have to learn it, and you have to accept it, and you have to take your fear out of it, and you have to accept that everyone has different situations, but your relationship with money is going to determine how much money you have, make, save, keep, invest. So money is not the bad guy. Not having it is scary, but learning it is going to benefit you. So really, really do your research. Have your chat GPT, call her whatever you want.
Yes, I know. ChatGPT is so amazing.
Put in, I have this credit card. These are the interest rates. List out the credit cards, list out the interest rates. This is how much debt I have. This is the loans that I have. Help me figure out a plan. And it will tell you, okay, this is the most aggressive plan. This is if you only have this much money to put into your debt. And it will tell you, pay this, pay that, pay that. You don't have to go through it alone. We are in, and I know it's scary. The whole ChatGPT and artificial intelligence and all of that is scary. But if you use it wisely, it will help you. So that is my biggest tip.
Yeah, it's such a benefit.
So I hope all of this helped. I know that getting out of debt helped me. So this was a very personal episode for me. And I just hope everybody is able to do the same.
And I think that in the future, we're going to have more money conversations because that is what we're saying. Like the not talking about it has harm. And
Very much so.
And as we make more money, and when I say we, I mean all of us watching, because the good vibes we're sending out, as we all make more money, we're going to talk about how to manage it.
Yes. So thank you again for watching.
But
please
still
subscribe,
YOLO
like.
But and also spend it.
Yes, have your fun funds.
Yes.
Have your fun funds and spend it on the things that you
Or
like.
date guys and make them pay for it.
There
right?
you go.
There you go.
If you were
From the last
listening, yes,
episode.
hello.
Hello. That is also a budgetary measure.
Yeah.
It is.
Dinner with.
Right.
You are my resource. I will learn from you how to get money from men.
I will replace how much I spend once a week on dinner with a
Going
man
out.
buying
Yes.
dinner. There you
I
go.
love that. Investment.
Subscribe, like.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.